Good morning. Today on the Billion Bet, we have Khatia on from Nomad Capitalist. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you so much for inviting. Happy to have this conversation.
Yeah, so when I first noticed that you were from Georgia, it kind of caught me by surprise. You're the first person I've actually ever met from the country of Georgia. How is it living over there?
So Georgia is, oh, well, people sometimes think, oh, Georgia, state of US. So we took some time to get noticed in a sense that we're a country. And then now we have we're between Europe and Asia. And we have a lot of similarities with Europe and a lot of similarities with like some Asian culture. So I would say it's pretty unique in a sense. You're connected with the world, I would say. It's a good location to travel in different places. So
That's awesome. And were you born and raised there?
yes, I was born and raised here.
Okay. And have you ever came to America before?
Actually, I haven't been to the US.
Really?
Yeah.
And do you have any plans to ever travel out here?
I think in the future, of course. I mean, I love traveling in general, so the US would be one of the places as well that I would visit in the future.
Okay. Where do you like to travel to the most?
Well, that's a hard question. So it's really hard because every region is unique in some way. I like traveling to Southeast Asia because it's very different from Georgia, so it's kind of really different. So I like that.
What makes it different?
Well, the food in the beginning, the
Okay.
architecture, people are very different, and nature as well. So all that together makes it really, really different. So I like that.
And are you talking like Malaysia? Like what parts of Southeast Asia do you like to visit?
Yes. When I say Southeast Asia, yes, Malaysia comes to my mind first because that's the one I've visited the most. And after that, Singapore is
Okay.
the second one that comes to my mind.
I've traveled outside of the United States, but I've never gone to Europe or to Asia before.
Okay.
Only south of the United States I've gone.
Okay. Where in South?
I've gone to like some of the Virgin Islands in the Caribbean, south of Florida. I've gone to Belize, some of Mexico, of course,
Yeah.
Honduras. I've gone on like a few different cruises. Cruises are pretty popular over here. You could kind of hit quite a few
Yeah.
different like countries and stuff. Some Dutch colonies,
hmm
anything really.
Right. I think in Europe as well, you start with one destination and then on the way you see a lot of different places and countries. I think in Europe mostly, for me, the thing is you just get into a train in one country and then with like a ride of couple of hours, you cross three, four countries. So that's kind of something that I like.
And that's definitely unique. Here in the United States, people don't really utilize the train system that much, honestly. I'm pretty close to Chicago, which is a pretty
Mhm.
good big city. Some people will take the train to Chicago. It's like 40 minutes, and
Mhm.
that's kind of popular. But if you were to go to like, let's say like Colorado or something like that, like you would never take the train.
Mhm.
The trains here are so slow.
Yeah, I hear that it's more of a road trip, in a sense.
Yeah, definitely. So what makes Georgia kind of unique as a country?
I would say because it's hard for Georgia so I would say that to start from the language is not similar to any other language at all. So even the
Really?
language family itself, in just Georgian language family. So that's the first thing. And what I mentioned before and what I like is that it really is a place where East and West, let's say, meets in the middle. We have a lot of similarities with like mostly Eastern Europe. If you ask Georgian, how do you identify, they will say Eastern Europe. I just like that it's a meeting point. I think just dances as well. I know it's not expected answer, but Georgian dances are quite unique. So all that together, I think makes Georgia unique.
That's pretty cool. So is the Georgian language not it's not an Arabic or a Latin derived language?
No, it's just Georgian. So it's called
Interesting.
Georgian language family. So we have just main Georgian language and then different, actually in a very small territory that we have at least three languages within, and but Georgian is the main. And yeah, there's no similarities at all. Of course, over the last centuries, we have some words that come from other languages, but that's just addition, that every language has at some point. The language itself is just standalone.
That's nice. So then, have any other dialects? Kind of how you said that there's these three different languages within this one part.
Yeah, these dialects as well. So we have a continuous region in Georgia called Svaneti. It's really beautiful.
Okay.
And they have their own language, so Svan language. So I don't understand it. And there's also Megrelian language, so it's another region in Georgia, so they have their own language. Everyone in Georgia knows Georgian language itself, but again, those two additional languages that only people from the region speak
Mhm.
is like fascinating, and we
Huh.
have to really try to preserve that because it's a small number of people that speak those.
That's pretty neat. Huh. And then what is like the typical Georgian food or like dinner similar to?
Right. So I think Ali, that's the name of Georgian dumplings. That's the most popular one. Besides that, we have khachapuri. So that is basically, they call it Georgian pizza. It's easiest way to understand what it is. So even that food, we have different varieties in different regions. So another thing now it comes to my mind that makes Georgia unique is that it's a very small country, and then there are different regions in it, and each regions have their own dances, their own food, or version of their food. And for such a small territory, that's quite unique, I think.
What kind of dances are these? Are they kind of different than stuff you see in the United States?
Oh, definitely. So the dances itself as well come from different regions, and they are so if it comes from mountainous regions, you have mostly like guys having swords and those kind of equipment during dances, and they're like dancing like they're fighting, because the culture from mountains is that you have to like protect your area and so on. So that the dances are really dynamic and really dynamic basically. As for other dances, I would say mostly the ones that do not come from mountains are much more calm, like calmer, and women especially are floating around on the stage. I'm not joking. They're really doing that. You can search on YouTube. Yeah, it depends on where it comes from. It can be either dynamic or it can be more calm, but it's nothing that you've seen in another countries. I would say in North Caucasus, so Georgia is in South Caucasus area. So in North Caucasus, there are some similar dances, I would say. Well, I believe, have it very developed, and we have also a Georgian dance group, Sukhishvilebi, and they have world tours. Oh, I don't know if they go to US, or at least in Europe, they have
Okay.
concerts, and they're quite popular there.
Huh. And are these dances kind of something you go to on like a Friday night instead of going to like a bar?
I really love Georgian dances, but I don't, unfortunately, like we don't go on Fridays or so on casually to watch those dances. Almost every Georgian at the age of 6 goes to the school to learn and it doesn't matter they have the talent or not, they just need to know this. So they doesn't matter if they're interested or not, they have to learn it. So all of us know it, all of us can dance that, but I don't think like on Saturdays or Fridays we go to watch it. Usually when some people from around the world come to Georgia and I want to show them around, I always take them to either a restaurant that has dances like that, or I take them to a concert. And it's always full, like you have to get tickets in advance. We've had our team of like at Nomad Capitalist. We flew them, all of them, to Tbilisi actually a couple of days ago. It was last week. And we had around like 55 people, and we took them to the restaurant where they had these dances, and I think this was a pretty unique experience for them.
Wow, that is very unique. We don't have anything like that over here. The closest thing you could probably get to it would be like the Latino community. Sometimes they have music and stuff going inside their restaurants. But honestly, that's kind of about it. Sometimes in like more South Central United States, you'll get like
Mhm.
country music in the bars, and people kind of do like live performances with like a guitar, but it's usually only like a one person thing. It's never like super like organized.
Oh, this is very organized. Like this is very organized. We have also Latin dances. Like we have all sorts of dances. I myself started at the age of 6, as you would guess. I went to the school to learn Georgian dances. Then I switched to hip hop dances, and then my sister started learning like Latin dances. So we love dancing over here. Well, then I stopped, to be honest. But sometimes I show off my talent on either weddings or on gatherings, and that's the aim. If you go to the school to learn the dance, then your parent tells you have to know how to dance. So at the wedding, you can dance it. So that's kind of their aim.
Of course, it makes sense. So, do you have a big family?
Myself, no, we're a family of 5. So
Okay.
it's a regular size, I would say.
What motivated you to, start working at Nomad Capitalist?
So, actually, when I started working at Nomad Capitalist, I was at my exchange program in Slovakia. So, and I was not specifically looking for a role at that time, but I got reached out. And then when I saw and I looked at the company, I saw how international it was, and I always wanted to work with people from all around the world, and Nomad Capitalist gives me that opportunity. Besides that, it's very we really appreciate people who are hard workers, and I'm one
Mhm.
myself, so it works out well for me as well.
That's good. What were you doing in Slovakia?
So I had an exchange semester there from my university, so I went for 5 months. And yeah, I was studying international relations and business, so I had courses related to that. That was great experience because you meet a lot of people your age, different countries, and mostly around Europe, to be honest.
Okay.
But yeah.
That's pretty cool. I have a friend and he went to Italy for like 4 or 5 months and he loved it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Slovakia is pretty far from Italy though.
So, yeah, so Slovakia and Italy, yeah, they're not quite similar, but we had a lot of Italians
Oh yeah?
uh, to our team. Yes, there are a lot of exchange students from Italy, so I didn't feel that far from Italy there.
Okay.
I had a small exchanges as well in Italy and also Germany, but a bit longer term was in Slovakia and Turkey as well, which is another interesting country, I would say.
Makes it so
It's also
interesting.
what's unique. Because again, I love the places that have this, they are the meeting points, as I would say, between different like West and East. Depends on where you go to Turkey, you can get different experiences. So I was there during coronavirus, and in the beginning, I felt a bit bad about it. We didn't have a lot of people, a lot of students. We were around 10. But soon, really, we started feeling like a family because it was a really small number of people. And the good thing was that we traveled around a lot during this 5 months, especially
Okay.
weather in southern part of Turkey is really nice. So April, May, that was really a good time already to travel. And you are able to see beautiful beaches and nice like nature, and then you go somewhere else and you see, let's say, you see something from, I don't know, centuries ago, and then you go to Istanbul, and that's a whole different world. So you can get all kind of experiences that you want in Turkey. So that's why it's one of my favorite places.
And from the United States perspective, a lot of these Eastern European countries get like a rap as if they're not safe. Did you
Mhm.
ever feel unsafe when you were in Turkey?
Yeah, I would say that's a misconception, really, because we were 3 girls traveling around alone. We never had any single situation where we didn't feel safe. That also goes to Georgia as well. And actually, the places that I've been, I haven't massively felt unsafe. Obviously, every big city, if you're going to the big city, you have to be cautious of which neighborhood you go to. But even though Istanbul and then another city that I was in, it was Izmir, are both of them are big cities, and I didn't really feel unsafe. Especially we traveled around almost whole like southern part of Turkey. We visited a lot of cities and we didn't really felt that way.
Huh. That's good. That's it's always better, right? So, what's the weather like over there? Do you guys get snow?
So not as much anymore in Tbilisi, but in the mountains, yes, yes. We have very nice ski resorts. I'm
Oh,
not a great at that,
no?
but other people enjoy it. So yeah, it's really nice.
You're not a big fan of skiing?
Just because I don't know it well enough. I think if I would get into it, I would do it well and I would love it.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you like any sports?
Yeah, that's not my strength, I would say. Not really following any sports at all. So no.
Yeah, well, you could dance. I guess that's something, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we can consider that.
Fair enough. What is the Georgian economy based off of?
I would say tourism. So we had a big economic changes starting from 21st century. So before that period, Georgia was part of, let's say, Soviet Union, and then Soviet Union, when it got, let's say, disassembled, people in those post-Soviet countries were in really bad economic situations. So, and I'm not exaggerating when I say really bad. But most of those countries, including Georgia, or I would say especially Georgia, started economic reforms in the beginning of 2000s. And that was the time when I was growing up as well. So I didn't really feel, I didn't really experience 90s that much, which was bad. But it was a huge transformation from, I would say, 2003 to like 2010 and around that time. And that is when we started, let's say, opening up a bit more, actually much more, showing our beautiful nature, food, and our like the fact that it's unique. And I talked about that. So we started attracting a lot of tourists from all around the world, and that continues till this day. I would say that Georgia was also and it still is really open for business. So it's really open for international business. So it's really easy for foreigners to set up their businesses. We've had a lot of digital nomads as well here because of the fact that it provided a good value for money that they were paying here, either for rent or food or whatever. Well, after COVID, to be honest, the prices went really up, but probably that's the case for many countries. So the fact that it's really open and it's easy to do business here makes it attractive place for international either business people or anyone else who's interested. At Nomad Capitalist as well, we've talked about Georgia previously, and there are many people that we guided to come here, or at least to make it part of their journey. So yeah, I think that's something that's very important and helps Georgia in a sense to grow.
Wow, that's incredible. Is what kind of business are these people mainly participating in on the international side?
Right. Well, I'm in HR, so for me, the one that I'm most aware of is hiring people here, especially
Okay.
we have who are a small business owner, let's say you pay 1% tax only, just 1%. So up to certain threshold, of course. So you pay just 1%, and that is really motivating for people to either start their own consulting or provide services to, let's say, businesses outside of Georgia. Also, young talent in Georgia, and something that I really know is really progressive. They again go abroad to study. They have a great English. They are motivated to grow. So they usually are employed with the people that are like international people that are coming in to Georgia, or they just provide services remotely. So I would say those two.
That's huge difference. Here in the United States, the taxes are about like 35%.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, working at Nomad Capitalist, I know that we help a lot of people to solve that problem and just find another ways or go to other places to try how it is in another places.
That's very interesting. So you reside in Georgia full time then?
Yes, I do travel a lot, but I live in Georgia. Yeah.
And you think that Georgia will stay your home?
That is something I think that's something that I think about a lot, and I think many people my age would relate. We've seen a country, let's say, turning around and being really, really good place for growth, but we have to consider basically what is it that you want to do. And for my perspective, I'm still thinking about it. I do like it here. I do like the things that I do like Georgia because of the things I mentioned before. So I'm still thinking.
That's fair enough. And I guess if you travel enough, ultimately you can, consider Georgia your home, but you could still travel as much as you want.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I get to see my family and friends and just enjoy the life here, but also go to different places. I mean, we have team and all around the world. So due to my role, I need to travel sometimes to meet them or arrange or do something. So I go there. I go there a lot. I go to different places. I was in Colombia actually last year, so that
Uh,
was the furthest so far for me in that area, and I loved it there. Uh, so yeah, if you, I guess you're right. If you travel enough, then it works.
yeah, definitely. Colombia would be a cool destination. I hear a lot of people, talk about Colombia, but I've never gone. That in Argentina, I'd like to go there as well.
I've hired a lot of people from Colombia and Argentina, and we at Nomad Capitalist have also talked about Colombia, not as much in as Argentina, but Colombia. And again, what I can comment on are the people and young people, especially who are really good addition to the team usually and great young talent. So for me, from that perspective, especially those two places are great.
That's incredible. And what do most other people do in Georgia for work?
You mean, can you repeat? Sorry.
Like how you work, internationally. Are a lot of other people in Georgia working internationally?
Yeah, they do. They do, especially if they are in marketing. That's something that usually that role is done, roles in marketing are done remotely very easily. So most of the people who are working from Georgia for companies outside of Georgia do roles like graphic design or digital marketing, SEO, or web development also,
Okay.
IT. Those are the roles that are quite easily done remotely. Besides that, I would say customer service, but I'm not as sure as I'm in marketing.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's a very big industry. Even around here, a lot of people do that digitally.
Yeah, I would say recruitment as well. When I was looking for another person to join my team in HR for recruitment, I looked at the talent here, and many of them work for companies outside of Georgia, including US as well, to be honest.
Interesting. Huh. And how long have you been with Nomad Capitalist for?
So a little more than 2 years been here.
Nice. You enjoy it?
I do, yeah, I do. I started actually as an HR associate, and I quickly moved up to an HR manager role, and that was so you learn a lot in a short period of time. There's a lot of self-learning as well, but there's also the international aspect that I was talking about. So we are, let's say, building knowledge internationally. So we sit down and then we're like, oh, I wonder how's the talent in Egypt. Let's look there and let's interview people and see or gather the information. You cannot get that directly brought to you, or you cannot learn that somewhere else. You just have to do it yourself and then figure out yourself how it is there. So yeah, Argentina and Colombia are part of that initiative. Let's see what kind of talent we will find. So I like that aspect that my role is not very repetitive. That happens in HR
Yeah.
sometimes, that you're doing something administrative work and it's just very repetitive and payroll and all that. I enjoy doing that, but for me, recruitment is more interesting just because of the fact that you don't always know what to expect, and you're researching at the same time. Also, for me, the challenging part, and I enjoy challenging part, is building a global team. And I've talked about this before, having so many people from all around the world. is not as easy. It's very fun. It's very fun because when we meet again, Georgians will start dancing, and then and people from another countries will sing their song or something. So it's gonna be really, really fun. But when it comes to work itself, people being in different time zones, people being used to different work ethic, people being used to different, I mean, labor laws are different in each country. You have to be fair to everyone,
Yeah.
and you have to find some solution that works for everyone and is fair. And that is something that's hard to achieve because again, you have people being used to their own country's environment, and then suddenly you are this international company and you have people from 16 countries, and then it's both company and also team member has to adapt. When you're hiring, you have to find people that have traveled a lot or they are international, so they have that mindset because it will be really hard to navigate through different, let's say, 16 different cultures in a sense. So that's challenging and interesting for me.
Yeah, that would be very cool. It definitely brings a different dynamic to the group, I would think.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
What countries or areas do you feel have harder workers than others?
Uh, that's a good question. I mean, we are pretty much focused on individual approach because we've had some countries where there's a stereotype that they don't work hard, and then we have individuals from there, and they are the most hardworking people we've had in the team. So that is something that I try not to follow stereotypes, to be honest. I would say people from I think probably Southeast Asia, they are more hardworking. I would say they work a bit more. Or yeah, I think that's also part of the culture to be really hardworking and to devote a lot of time to it. But yeah, it's this it's some that is a stereotype I don't want to really
Yeah.
yeah,
Even
I don't
around
want to really promote it.
even around here though, I think it's on a family by family basis. Like
Mhm.
some families, you're like, wow, like you guys are lazy. Like some people in the United States have like somebody that cuts their grass, somebody that
Mhm.
like cleans their house, somebody that like washes the house, like puts away the dishes, does the
Mhm.
laundry. Like I even was watching this like this video the other day, and this guy who's quite popular around here, and he was saying how he has this magic floor, and if he puts something on the floor, next time when he comes home, it's already been dry cleaned and then like hung back
Mhm.
up in his closet. So like whatever he puts on the
Well,
floor, even if he doesn't like wear it, it's like automatically gets done.
so that's internal person in the
Mm-hmm.
family or something
Uh,
external?
it has
Okay.
no, not internal in the family, but he
Oh,
pays he
external.
pays somebody
Yeah.
to come to his house and do this. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, over here we also have, let's say, people that you hire for something that they they know better than you do, or they can do it better than you do, or you just simply don't have time. Is that because they don't have time themselves because they work so hard in their roles, or what is it? Or I want to assume the best.
I don't know. I mean, it is just it would just be putting a shirt back on the hanger and putting it back in the
Right.
closet. But I don't know.
True. Yeah,
So
I agree on that. I didn't look at that aspect.
some people are a little lazy sometimes,
Yes, they are.
but it's okay. So am I. So am I.
Are you lazy?
No, I wouldn't consider myself lazy. But I mean, hey, I got up at five o'clock to do the interview today.
I was thinking what time it was for you because it was very convenient time for me. So I was thinking, well, what's the time for him? I mean, when I do interviews for people, I was doing some interviews, people like from Mexico, let's say
Okay.
that's like a similar time zone. And yeah, that's either I would stay later and I would, let's say, I would sacrifice my evening, but because it was something that I wanted to do, I was interested in those people, I was interested in those interviews. So I would just sometimes they would sacrifice and have an interview really early in the morning. And I always take that into consideration. People in Colombia, though, I know that they wake up really early. I was there when I was there. I scheduled a couple of interviews in person, not yeah, in person, and they really casually scheduled an interviews with me at 7 a.m. in the morning, some cafe.
Hmm.
In Georgia, you will never have that. At 7 a.m., you will
Really?
be probably one of the two people in the streets. I'm not joking. This is something that I didn't mention when I was talking about Georgia. We've had so when we had our team members from again various different countries to Tbilisi, one of them arrived in the office at 9 and he was like, I couldn't find any coffee shop open. Where do you get your coffee? And I'm like, yeah, after 9. So can
Oh
you
man.
before? Yeah, and it's really something that I think I'm not so proud of, but yeah, we start late.
So, what time do you guys then like eat meals?
So, I would say 7 in the evening is
Okay.
like a casual dinner time. Well, something for Georgians is, which I don't personally like, I adapted to our international approach, I think. But if they say 7 p.m., like you can be a bit late, whatever, 7:30, whatever, might not start at 7 specifically. So dinner can go really long. Georgians have a really big, the dinners usually are big thing. So we have Georgian supra. Supra is like a big table with full of food, and there has to be so much food that it like overflows onto each other. I don't know. There's
Ah.
usually like a lot. So again, when we had team here, they're like this. I don't this much food I've never had, and they're like, I'm feeling bad almost. I've had so much. So usually it starts 7, 7:30 around that time, and then it goes on and on. And we also have toasts, like our big thing here. Like we have a toastmaster, someone in charge of the table, whole
Okay.
table, everyone. And they say we have a literal sequence of what toasts have to come after each other and so on. So by the end of those toasts, they are usually everyone's really drunk because it's at least 15, I don't know, more than that. So it goes till really late. That's why I guess we start late in the morning because after that dinner and after that much drinking, you cannot start so early. As for, let's say, midday meals, that can, I mean, we have from 1 to 2. I think that's usually normal.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. This has been very insightful. We're starting to run out of time, but I really appreciate you coming on today and making time out of your busy schedule to interview with me.
Oh, thank you as well for inviting me. It was nice to speak.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Same. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.